U.S. strikes have hit civilian areas in Yemen, causing widespread damage and making the situation even worse in a country the UN describes as experiencing one of the world's worst humanitarian crises. And there is growing concern that the U.S. intervention will make it harder to deliver vital aid for millions in need. Our correspondent Ehab Al-Fandi reports.
For many Yemenis, when night falls is a time for respite, a moment to escape the violence the country has long endured. But on March 19th, as many slept in their homes, that sense of reprieve would once again be taken away. Heavy U.S. airstrikes targeted this neighborhood in the central Sana'a. Fires broke out as civil defense teams rushed to search for survivors and put out the flames. One family turned apart by sharpenal before finishing their meal. A face mask factory and steel factory hit and set ablaze, leaving dozens of people jobless. Even a hospital, still under construction, flattened by U.S. airstrikes. Here, a home once stood. Now only ruins remain. A new tragedy added to Yemen's long list of destruction. Survivors tell their stories, moments that changed their lives forever.
The children were extremely frightened by the missiles that came suddenly while people were safe in their homes. We came out to see what had happened, only to discover entire families, women and children, had been completely wiped out.
We were safe in our homes, unaware there was any bombing. We live in a residential neighborhood. There are no military camps near us, nothing at all. The first missile terrified all of us, and the second one completely blew the house apart.
Since the start of this year, U.S. airstrikes have continued to rain terror on Yemeni civilians. In recent attacks, American warplanes have hit residential areas across the country. Relief organizations, including the UN and the World Health Organization, face growing challenges in reaching those in need, with reports of logistical and security obstacles and aid workers at risk. Yemen is now facing its darkest humanitarian crisis in modern history. Millions of children suffering from severe malnutrition. Thousands of families have lost their source of income. Poverty is spreading rapidly, especially as the war, after a brief calm, has flared up again.
We are talking about full-scale suffering caused by the blockade and restrictions on Hodeidah port. The first to suffer is the ordinary citizen. More than 5 million Yemenis now live below the poverty line, with almost no purchasing power.
Aside from the escalation in bombing, the United States has also imposed a slew of new sanctions. These include restrictions on fuel entering Hodeidah port, Yemen's main economic lifeline supporting millions of people. The United Nations has expressed deep concern and has warned that new measures could worsen the humanitarian crisis, exacerbating an already dire situation on the ground. Washington says the goal is to weaken Ansar Allah and protect the freedom of navigation in the Red Sea. But authorities in Sana'a call it a direct attack on Yemen's sovereignty. They say the strikes are a Western response to Yemen's support for Gaza, and that civilians are paying the price.
This is savage, this is barbaric, this is unjustified aggression. The U.S. acts like it owns the seas and wants to control everything. It believes it is above international and humanitarian law, above the International Criminal Court. That's why we try to respond in the strongest way we can.
The recent airstrikes are just another chapter in a war now entering its 11th year.
Locals say the airstrikes haven't distinguished between military and civilian targets. As the violence goes on, it's the civilians who bear the heaviest burden. Behind this rebel are people that have lost everything, yet still cling to hope that the suffering will end. Ehab Al-Fandi, CGTN, Sana'a, Yemen.